Good evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq greets His Majesty the King of Morocco on His Majesty's birthday. The UN World Food Programme warns that one-third of Afghanistan's population is at risk of severe or acute hunger. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq sent a cable of greetings to His Majesty King Mohammed VI of Morocco on His Majesty's birthday. The UN World Food Programme warned that the combined effects of war and drought linked to global warming have put one-third of Afghanistan's population of 40 million people at risk of severe or acute hunger. The dire assessment comes as the country faces an uncertain future after the Taliban routed the government to take power over the weekend. WFP representative and country director Mary Ellen McGarty, in a telephone interview from Kabul, said that 2021 is an extraordinarily difficult year for Afghanistan as a horrendous humanitarian crisis is unfolding. McGarty said that she intended to remain in the South Asian nation with the WFP to deliver the much-needed humanitarian response that is required. She said that 40 million people are already at risk of severe or acute hunger and 2 million children are at risk of malnutrition. Drug firm AstraZeneca today announced positive results from a trial of treatment for COVID-19 symptoms. The drug is made from a combination of two antibodies, was initially developed as a treatment for those who had already been exposed to the disease. A new trial of 5,197 participants who had not been exposed showed that a 77% reduced risk of developing symptomatic disease with no severe cases recorded. A previous trial of the AZD7442 drug had shown it only reduced the risk of developing symptoms by 33%, which it concluded in June was not statistically significant. It is hoped that the drug could be used alongside vaccines for those who need more protection, affording up to 12 months of defense. The U.S. government has funded the development of AZD7442 and has agreed to receive 700,000 doses. A lockdown in Australia's largest city was extended through September, and tougher measures to curb the coronavirus Delta variant were imposed today, including a curfew and a mask mandate outdoors. New South Wales State, which includes Sydney, reported 642 locally acquired infections, the fourth consecutive day exceeding 600. Sydney has been locked down since late June after the more contagious Delta variant was detected in a limousine driver who became infected while transporting a U.S. cargo aircrew from the airport. New Zealand's first coronavirus outbreak in 6 months has spread from the largest city of Auckland to the capital of Wellington. Health authorities said today that 3 people in Wellington who recently visited Auckland had tested positive. They said the outbreak had grown to 31 cases. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern's government also expanded the lockdown that had been put in place Tuesday after the first community case was found in Auckland. All of New Zealand will remain in lockdown until at least next Tuesday. Previously, it had been a 3-day national lockdown and a 7-day lockdown in certain areas. Genome testing has linked the outbreak to an infected traveler who returned from Sydney earlier this month and was quarantined. New Zealand is continuing to pursue an elimination strategy aimed at wiping out the virus entirely in the country. Syria announced that Israeli planes raided sites in the vicinity of the cities of Damascus and Homs, noting that its air defenses confronted the missiles and shot down most of them, but the outcome of the attack was not clear. For its part, the Syrian Observatory reported that Israeli missiles targeted Hezbollah's weapons depots and military sites in the Qara area in Damascus countryside. And the media reported that 2 missiles landed in the Qalamoun area on the Lebanese-Syrian border. Still to come on News Bulletin. With a capacity of 80,000 cubic meters, the construction works for Wadi al-Arshi Dam in the Wilaya of Yanqul is completed. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. In the FAR, the national vaccination program continues to target individuals of 12 years and above and those who are qualified to take the second dose of the vaccine. Both residents and citizens in the governorate of the FAR have been eager to take the vaccine. The vaccination centers in the governorate of the FAR have witnessed a huge turnout. Students have been visiting the center for the past 2 weeks in anticipation of the school reopening based on the latest decision from the Supreme Committee on COVID-19. The campaign to vaccinate students will continue until next week, and parents are encouraged to book an appointment for their children at the earliest to ensure a safer return to schools. Oman oil price October 2021 delivery reached $65 and 70 cents per barrel. According to Dubai Mercantile Exchange, Oman oil price recorded an increase by 20 cents compared to yesterday's price of $65 and 50 cents. The average price of Oman oil August 2021 delivery reached $71.66 per barrel, thus $5.26 higher than the price of July 2021 delivery. With a capacity of 80,000 cubic meters, the construction works for Wadi al-Arshi Dam in the Wilaya of Yanqul in the governorate of Al-Dhahira has been completed. The dam was constructed in the area where 3 wadis meet, Wadi of Al-Masarra, Al-Nus and Al-Arshi. The dam was built by the community to increase the water available for farmers who are working on seasonal products and to counter water shortage. Besides agriculture, the dam will feed the wells and villages in Yanqul and the neighboring areas. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq greets His Majesty the King of Morocco on His Majesty's birthday. The UN World Food Programme warns that 1/3 of Afghanistan's population is at risk of severe or acute hunger. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, thank you for watching. Stay safe and good night.